Hello everyone, welcome to Lukmaan IAS. Today we are going to have the Hindu newspaper analysis dated 23rd of August 2023. And in today's newspaper discussion, we are going to cover some topics from the editorial section and also we are going to cover topics from other section of the newspaper. It will help you to cover current affairs from the perspective of all the GS paper of the mains exam and also for the prelims exam. So with this, let us start the discussion for the day. So these are the list of articles that we are going to cover during today's discussion, right? Along with this, we have some additional topics also. So in all, we are going to cover about 11 topics in today's discussion, right? So let's start the discussion. This is the first topic, okay? This topic says, BRICS is a platform for global south, says Modi, okay? So as you might be knowing that this particular organization, which is BRICS, right? So let's discuss about the topic. I'll be writing also for you, right? So name of the topic is BRICS is a platform for global south, okay? BRICS is a platform for global south. So this was said by the Prime Minister of India, right? Mr. Modi. Now let's understand what do we mean by the concept of global south, okay? So we will understand some of the concepts, okay? Concepts. So one of the concepts that we are going to understand is related to what is global south. So global south is a geopolitical term. It defines those countries that are developing countries that generally lie in the southern hemisphere of the world. Generally means like not all the countries lie in the southern hemisphere. For example, India also lies in the northern hemisphere. India lies northern hemisphere. China also entirely lies in the northern hemisphere. However, they represent the global south. So global south is a geopolitical term that talks about those countries that are developing countries, okay? These countries that are developing countries. And also it talks about those countries that are underdeveloped, okay? That are underdeveloped. Okay, those countries that are underdeveloped. Apart from this, the second term, right, that is normally used is global north, right? Global north. So what is the meaning of global north? Global north represents those countries that are developed, right? That are developed. And most of these countries actually lie in the northern hemisphere, okay? Countries that are developed. For example, countries like United States of America, right? USA or European Union, etc., right? So they represent global north, right? So in this article, basically, like, this article is related to a summit that is going to happen, like that is actually happening. The summit is of BRICS, right? BRICS, the BRICS summit. So what is BRICS? BRICS is an acronym that represents 5 countries. What are those 5 countries? One of the country is Brazil, okay? One of the country is Brazil. Then the second is Russia. Third is China. Third is India, okay? Third is India. Then we have China. And we have South Africa, okay? South Africa. So BRICS is a grouping of 5 countries. So these 5 countries are member of BRICS. Now the BRICS summit is happening. What is happening? BRICS summit is happening, right? So BRICS summit is happening from 22nd of August, right? 22nd of August to 24th of August. So today also BRICS summit is happening, right? So in this BRICS summit, this particular BRICS summit is being conducted in South Africa, okay? It is being conducted at South Africa. So South Africa is hosting this particular summit and India is participating there, Brazil is participating, China is participating, South Africa is anyhow hosting this thing. Russia is participating virtually, okay? Russia is participating virtually. Why Russia is participating virtually? Because the Russian Prime Minister, Russian President Mr. Vladimir Putin has, let's say, launched a war against Ukraine, and the International Criminal Court has issued a arrest warrant, right, against the Russian president, right, against Russian president. If Russian president visits South Africa, in that case, South Africa will be in a state of huge dilemma, means like whether to arrest Mr. Putin, right, to abide by the international norms of the International Criminal Court. So that's why, I mean, like, Russia is appearing, right, in this meeting virtually. So just before going to meet this particular meeting, the Prime Minister of India has given a statement, and in that statement, the Prime Minister of India has talked about that BRICS, which stands for Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. BRICS is a grouping of Global South. It represents Global South. And truly it is so, because, like, South Africa has invited many other developing countries as, let's say, observers. They have, invited those countries to participate in this particular BRICS summit. Along with this, many African countries have also been invited over here. Okay, so that's why this article came. So with this, let's say, like, we will move to the next topic quickly. This is the next topic. Now, so we have two questions. You need to answer these two questions. One of the question is for the prelims exam. It says, consider the following statements about BRICS, right? One of the statements says BRICS is the acronym for Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South America. Here they have mentioned South America. It is South Africa. Okay, it should be South Africa. So that's why statement 1 becomes incorrect. Now, if I talk about second statement, it says BRICS primarily focuses on subjects related to peace, security, development, and collaboration. This is right. So which of the above statements is or are correct? B. Only 2 is correct. 1 is incorrect. Now we have a question for the mains exam also. You may try answering this question. It says, BRICS provide India with an opportunity to balance its strategic interest between various nations. In the light of this, highlight the importance of BRICS for India, right? So you can answer this question in your free time, and after writing an answer, you can share your answer with us, right? We will evaluate. We will share the evaluated answer back to you. This is the explanation for this question. So for this question, only statement 2 is correct, means, like, option B should be the right answer. So in place of A, it should be B, right? It should be B. So with this, like, we will move to the next topic. Now, this topic is related to Chandrayaan, mission Chandrayaan. So Chandrayaan is a moon mission of India. And this is the third time that India has sent Chandrayaan mission to moon, right? So ISRO has already sent Chandrayaan 1 mission, Chandrayaan 2 mission. Chandrayaan 1 was sent by ISRO in 2007, right? And Chandrayaan 2 was sent in 2019. Now this is Chandrayaan 3, which is sent on 2023. So this Chandrayaan 3 mission has some objectives of it. One of the objective is to send the lander and rover, right, to make the lander and rover to, let's say, land on the south pole of the moon. None of the country has so far landed on the south pole of the moon. India wants to land on the south pole of the moon, which is also known as far side of the moon. So India is going to make, this Chandrayaan 3 is going to make a landing on south pole of the moon today, right, by the evening, in evening with reference to Earth's timing. But on moon, it will be a sunrise, and the mission, lifetime of the mission will be for 14 days, right, 14 days. So it is also known as one sidereal day. So during this lifetime, the rover is going to come out of the lander module, and rover is going to conduct in situ chemical analysis on the surface of the moon. It's going to send us data back from there, and we are going to experiment those data, okay? So what are the objectives of the mission? One is, like, to demonstrate the capacity of soft landing, right, of a lander module on the south pole of the moon. That is one objective. Second objective is to demonstrate the capacity of a rover to rove on the surface of the moon, to move on the surface of the moon. Third is conducting in situ chemical experiment on the surface of the moon, right? So in this article, they have mentioned about, right, they have mentioned about the timeline of the Chandrayaan 3 mission. So they have discussed that Chandrayaan 3 mission was launched on July 14, right, 2023. Then July 15 to 25, we have conducted orbit raising maneuvers around the Earth. Means like once it was launched, right? So the moon, this Chandrayaan 3 started, let's say orbiting around Earth. So we have done 5 different orbit raising maneuver. And after then, August 1 to 5, it starts from the Earth and reaches the lunar orbit. Means like from Earth to lunar orbit, like it has taken some day. So that date is mentioned. Then they have mentioned that orbit lowering maneuvers around the moon. Once it has reached the moon, so we have conducted orbit lowering maneuver. Means like that Chandrayaan 3 initially, like we have separated the lander and propulsion module, and after then the lander module, I mean like we are doing maneuver so that orbit is lowering, right? So orbit has lowered, it has gone very down, and now like today August 23, power descent to start at 5:45 p.m, touchdown at 6:04 p.m. So at this point of time, 6:04 p.m, we will see that this particular thing, I mean like lander module is going to land on the south pole of the moon. So related to this, they have mentioned, right? So recently ISRO has notified the world through Twitter, right? Twitter, which is like has been renamed as X, through the platform X. So this is related to that. Now, this is a question for the prelims exam. It says Chandrayaan 3 is the third and most recent India's lunar exploration mission under Chandrayaan program of ISRO. This is right. This statement is anyhow right. Second, it consists of a lander named Vikram and a rover named Pragyan, similar to those of the Chandrayaan 2. This is also right. So both these statements are right. Okay. So 1 and 2 are right. It means option C will be the right answer in this case. Okay. Okay, here they are asking about which of the above statements are correct. So both these statements are correct in this case. Okay, both these statements are correct. In that case, the answer should be option C. Okay, option C should be the right answer. So I'll get it edited also in the file before we upload in the, let's say like in the description of the YouTube, right? So I'll get it updated. Then we have, let's say, another topic. It says inflation pressures may linger. Inflation pressures may linger, but food prices to ease soon. So the Finance Ministry of India has recently talked about the inflation related data, right? So we have recently seen that the food prices have gone up in general, right? In general, the prices of food commodities have gone up. If I talk about tomato, the price of tomato has, let's say, sharply increased over a short period of time. And similar was the trend with onion also. Onion price have also started going up. In this article, they have mentioned what was the reason of increasing in the price of tomato. So they said, interruption in the supply chain of tomatoes due to white fly disease in Kolar district of Karnataka. So a disease was identified in Kolar district of Karnataka, which is known as white fly disease. Okay. So because of this disease, and there was a swift arrival of monsoon in the North India, this caused a surge in the tomato price. So there were two reasons. One of the reason is like white fly disease was identified in Kolar district in Karnataka. Second was arrival of monsoon, means like rainfall in the North India. So these two events has led to sharp increase in the price of tomato. They have also mentioned that tur dal price also spiked due to deficient production. Okay, means like there was less production. So when there is less production, so there will be less supply. If there is less supply, there will be more demand. And if the demand increases as compared to supply, what happens? The prices go up. So they have mentioned about it. Then also they have mentioned about global uncertainties. What are the global uncertainties that may lead to increase in the prices of, let's say, food items? So they have mentioned as per the latest FAO food price index. Okay. So this FAO stands for Food and Agricultural Organization. Okay. Food and Agricultural Organization. Agriculture. Okay. Food and Agriculture Organization of the world, United Nations Food and Agricultural Organization. I'm just writing it. So they have said, as per the latest FAO food price index, food inflation showed an uptick in July after the continuous decline since April. Then they have also mentioned termination of Black Sea Grain Initiative. So recently what has happened, the war is happening between Russia and Ukraine. Now Ukraine, some of the seaborne drones of Ukraine has attacked on let's say on a bridge which is known as Kerch Bridge, which is located on above the Kerch Strait. And soon after the attack on Kerch Bridge, right, the Russian president has declared that it is going to withdraw itself from the Black Sea Grain Initiative. So Black Sea Grain Initiative has different members. The United Nations Organization is a member, Turkey is a member, Russia is a member, Ukraine is a member. So Russia was helping different countries to get let's say food commodities at a lower price through the Black Sea Grain Initiative. So that's why Russia has cut short this initiative. So this has also increased, right, the uncertainty about the food prices in the market. So this is what is mentioned in this article. They have mentioned various figures also, percentage, so that you can read in your free time from the article itself. So having understood this topic is important for economy section, right? So having understood this, we will now move to the next topic. So this topic is also important. This is related to Chandrayaan 3 mission itself. It's a part of science and technology. It will be important for the prelims exam and also for the mains exam under GS paper 3. Okay. So it says NASA, European Space Agency, to support ISRO during moon landing today. Now, in the title itself, they have mentioned the name of 3 space agencies of the world. NASA stands for National Aeronautics and Space Administration. This is the space agency of the United States of America. Then European Space Agency. So this is the space agency of the European Union. Then ISRO, Indian Space Research Organization, it's the space agency of India. So these two organizations, NASA and ESA, they are going to support Indian Space Research Organization during the moon landing today. How they are going to support? Because NASA and European Space Agency, they do have their ground stations located on Earth, right, at various places, and these ground stations will help, right, ISRO, they are going to help ISRO to gather data from the Chandrayaan mission. They are going to help ISRO in gathering data, gathering the, let's say, communication related data. So whenever communication happens, it happens through, let's say, various different techniques. Satellite communication happens. So in that case, they are going to help. So they have mentioned that these two organizations have been helping ISRO, right, since the inception, since the beginning of the Chandrayaan 3 mission. Okay. So in this article, they have just mentioned this particular thing, that these organizations are also going to support the Indian Space Research Organization in this field. Now this topic is related to Indian polity. Okay, it's related to Indian polity. So this topic is important for Indian polity because in this article we talk about disqualification of the members, right? We talk about disqualification, right? Disqualification of the members of the parliament. So this article has been written by PTD Achari. He has been a former Secretary General of Lok Sabha. And this person has talked about various case laws, the cases where the Supreme Court of India has given judgment, and also various high courts like High Courts of Kerala, High Court of West Bengal, and other high courts have given judgment. So he has discussed about these case laws to make a point related to disqualification of the members from the parliament, right? Member of parliaments like MPs disqualification from the parliament itself. So in this article, they have mentioned about, let's say, one of the case, which is Lily Thomas versus Union of India. this Lily Thomas versus Union of India case, like 2013, there the Supreme Court of India has given a judgment, and in the Supreme Court of India judgment, so they have discussed, they have mentioned about this thing, that in that judgment the Supreme Court has invalidated section 8 clause 4 of the Representation of People Act 1951. Now we need to understand what is Representation of People Act 1951. Okay, so we are going to discuss about this topic. Okay, let's discuss about this topic. I do have the newspaper with me, and while reading this topic, you can also open your newspaper so that you at least get to know what is the title of the topic. So it says, a strong case to restore. Okay, a strong case to restore section 8 clause 4. Section 8 clause 4 of the RP Act, okay, of the Representation of People Act. So they have written in short because there might be less space while writing the title in the Hindu, right? So here we are going to understand various things through this article. What are the things we are going to understand? One of the thing is like the case of, right, disqualification, okay, case of disqualification of member of parliaments, okay, disqualification of MPs. So how disqualification of MPs happen? So in this article they have given various examples. One of the example is the case of Mr. Rahul Gandhi, okay, case of Mr. Rahul Gandhi. So in Rahul Gandhi's case, right, so there was a district and sessions court, right, so that sessions court in Surat, right, so that Surat court has, let's say, upheld a defamation case against Rahul. So it has given a verdict announcing 2 years of imprisonment, okay, 2 years of imprisonment. And under the Representation of Peoples Act 1951, it was mentioned that any person who gets a, let's say, sentence of 2 or more years, he may be disqualified, right? He will be disqualified from being a member of parliament, right? So in this case, the Surat court has given the highest, given the highest, what we say, the term sentence to Mr. Rahul Gandhi. And soon after that, soon after that, he was disqualified from the parliament, and he has approached the, let's say, another high court. Then finally the matter came to the Supreme Court of India, and Supreme Court of India has, let's say, quashed, it has given a judgment where they have, let's say, stayed the order, okay, they have stayed the order. They have stayed the order of the Surat court, okay. Now in this article, the author has mentioned about various legalities that is associated with this. So author says that section 8 clause 4, what? The section 8 clause 4 of the Representation of Peoples Act, I'm also writing RP Act in short, Representation of Peoples Act 1951. This section 8 clause 4 talks about that, a person can be disqualified if he gets a sentence of more than 2 years. But the thing is, it also talks about that he will be disqualified. Will be disqualified does not mean automatically he stands disqualified. It means that the President of India will have to notify that this person is disqualified. But in this case, what has happened, the moment he was sentenced, right, the house means the parliament has taken a cognizance that this person has, Mr. Rahul Gandhi got disqualified, right. So in this article, the author has talked about various legalities associated with this case, and author has talked about a Supreme Court judgment, okay, Supreme Court judgment. So which Supreme Court judgment? The Supreme Court judgment is related to Lily Thomas case, okay, Lily Thomas case in the year of 2013. So in the Lily Thomas case, what the Supreme Court of India has done, the Supreme Court of India has invalidated Section 8 Clause 4 of the Representation of People Act, which had allowed 3 months period within which to appeal. Okay. So this, under this judgment, the Section 8 Clause 4 of RP Act, of the Representation of People's Act, right, was invalidated by the Supreme Court. Invalidated means like this particular section had a clause that a person, like once he gets a sentence of let's say 2 years or more from any court of India, so that person gets 3 months of time period. Okay, he gets 3 months of time period for let's say making an appeal. However, in this particular judgment, in this Lily Thomas case, the Supreme Court of India has said that this section is let's say is null and void. So after then what happens, like the moment a person is disqualified on the same day, the day on which the person gets sentenced from a court, the same day that person gets disqualified being a member of the parliament. However, the author has talked about other provisions also of the Representation of People Act. The Representation of People Act talks about that to disqualify a person, right, the President of India has to notify that this person has been disqualified. Okay. However, in the case of Rahul Gandhi, it has never happened. Okay. So the author has talked about various other articles also. For example, Article 102. Okay, Article 102 Clause 1 of the Constitution of India. So what is this Article 102 Clause 1? So it said, the top court said that Article 102 does not create any difference between the sitting member and a candidate so far as disqualification is concerned. It held that the Parliament has no power to grant exemption to sitting members for 3 months and thus struck down Section 4. So as ultra vires. So the thing is, the Supreme Court of India has read, right, this Section 8 Clause 4 along with this article. It has read both the things together and said that this particular clause of the Representation of People Act does not make any difference between a sitting member of the parliament and a candidate, and said that's why this particular section stays invalidated. Okay, so this will be no protection, right? This will be no protection to a person for holding an office. Okay, so that 3 months validation will not be given. And here they have the author has mentioned about various other cases also. For example, the High Courts, Allahabad High Court in Sachindra Nath Tripathi versus Dudnath in 1987, and Himachal High Court in Vikram Anand versus Rakesh Sinha held the view that disqualification remains intact on staying the sentence. Okay, so in different judgments, various things has been said. In this judgment of the Supreme Court, they said the moment sentence is given, that person stands disqualified. And in various High Court judgments, they have said that disqualification remains intact, means the person stays disqualified even on staying the sentence. Means here in this case, the day when Rahul Gandhi got a stay from the Supreme Court, that day he became eligible to go to the parliament once again. But in the High Court judgments, they have given contrary opinion, judgments as compared to the Supreme Court judgment. So the thing is, that's why the author says that there needs to be a clarity on this particular matter, and this clarity can also only be brought by the parliament. How? The parliament, what they can do, they can bring some kind of legislation to restore, right? The parliament can restore, right? The parliament can restore section 8 clause 4 of the Representation of People Act, okay, of the RP Act 1951. Why it is important to restore? Because the author feels that the Lily Thomas case, right, the judgment of the Lily Thomas case of the Supreme Court of India is a dangerous precedent, because they come, right, on the way of the, let's say, career of MPs. So the author says that the judgment in the Lily Thomas case, which invalidated section 8 clause 4 of the Representation of People Act, can play havoc in the careers of sitting legislatures. Okay, means like this judgment is going to create problems in the careers of the sitting legislatures. So that's why the author suggests that the parliament can come up with a law to bring back, right, can come up with provision to bring back this particular section of the Representation of People's Act, because it is also important to safeguard the careers of the sitting MPs, right. So this is what is mentioned in this article. You can go through this article. You can also note down the various case laws that have been mentioned in this article. Then we have another topic. This topic is again important. It says easing credit flow, easing credit flow. Now, what is this all about? We are going to discuss about it, okay? Name of the topic is easing credit flow. So what is the context of this particular topic? Recently, the Reserve Bank of India, right? Reserve Bank of India has started a platform, and that platform is going to assist various creditors. Like this platform is going to assist various creditors, means like the bankers, the banks who lend money to the people. How it is going to assist? This particular platform is going to, let's say, give credit related information of the borrowers to the banks, and this will enable the banks to lend money to the borrowers on a quick note. So the thing is, the Reserve Bank of India has planned to establish public tech platform for frictionless credit. Okay, so public tech platform for frictionless credit. Okay, for frictionless credit. So what has happened? Recently, the Reserve Bank of India has announced, it has notified that it is going to build public tech platform for frictionless credit. And for this purpose, right, the Reserve Bank of India has started a pilot project. And this particular thing is going to be is going to be established by one of the full subsidiary of the RBI. And name of that subsidiary is mentioned in this article itself, right? So name of this subsidiary is also mentioned. So this subsidiary of the Reserve Bank of India, so Reserve Bank of India Innovation Portal, something innovation hub like that. So it's going to establish this particular thing, which is public tech platform for frictionless credit. It's going to assist the banks, right? So banks will be getting credit related information of the borrowers, and after getting the credit related information of the borrowers, it can, let's say, lend money directly to the borrowers through digital platform itself. Okay, so it's going to create ease of lending, right, for the banks. So this is what is mentioned in this article. Then apart from this, we have another article which says on protecting the biodiversity of the Northeast, right? So the thing is, like, recently what has happened, the state government of Meghalaya, okay, so they had started cleaning a lake in Meghalaya. Okay, so cleanliness of Umiam Lake versus state of Meghalaya. So related to that, there was a case that was filed in the Meghalaya High Court, and in that case the Meghalaya High Court has given a judgment, and that judgment was against the Meghalaya state government. Okay, it was against the Meghalaya state government, and the court has observed that the Meghalaya Water Bodies Preservation and Conservation Guidelines 2023, right, these guidelines did not deal with the structures that was built around the lakes, that were built around, let's say, water bodies. So these structures have to be dealt by the by the state government. So that's why the court, I mean Meghalaya High Court, has talked about that, the cleanliness, cleanliness project is going to create nuisance for the environment. It's going to create, let's say, havoc for the environment. So that's why they have given a judgment in this case. And so the state government, they have started doing the Garo, Khasi, Jaintia hills and Brahmaputra Valley are some of the most important biodiversity hotspots. So this the High Court of Meghalaya has taken given this, let's say, decision to protect the biodiversity of that region. So with this, we have another topic. This topic is again important. It says, petitioners say constitution did not apply to Jammu and Kashmir after 1957. Supreme Court bench disagrees. So what is this all about? This is a case that the Supreme Court of India is hearing related to Article 370, okay, related to Article 370 of the Constitution. So Article 370 of the Constitution has been abrogated by the Supreme Court of India in 2019, right? And before abrogating, they have followed multiple steps. First of all, they have, let's say, dissolved the State Legislative Assembly of the state of Jammu and Kashmir. Then they have established the governor's rule, okay, governor has taken the authority. Then after a month, president's rule has been imposed, right? And after then they have, let's say, changed some provision of Article 370. Later on, they have decided that Article 370, let's say, is abrogated. And after then, what they have done is, after then they have let's say, taken away the statehood of the state of Jammu and Kashmir and created two union territories. One is the Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir with a state legislature, and then Union Territory of Ladakh without a state legislature. So that they have done. So this thing is being challenged by various petitioners in the Supreme Court of India. So people are challenging this, let's say, the step of the central government. And they have made multiple points. There have been multiple hearings earlier also. I have discussed all of them in previous days newspaper discussion. So now this time what they have done is, the petitioners have said that the Constitution of India did not apply to Jammu and Kashmir after 1957. What happened in 1957? In 1957, the Constitution of Jammu and Kashmir came into place. It was established. How it was established? After, let's say, after the Constituent Assembly of Jammu and Kashmir, let's say, completed its work, and they have established the Constitution, and it led to the establishment of a State Legislative Assembly of Jammu and Kashmir. So they have cited, let's say, various oral hearing, let's say, oral works of many people. Oral works of which people? Oral, let's say, the remarks of the people who participated in the discussion of the Constituent Assembly in the state of Jammu and Kashmir. However, these things were not, let's say, agreed by the judges, right, who are hearing the case in the Supreme Court of India. The judges comprise of the Chief Justice of India along with other 4 senior-most judges. So this particular issue is being heard by the Constitutional Bench of the Supreme Court of India, right? After this, we have another topic. It says, causing floods is a terrorist offense in law proposed to repeal the Indian Penal Code. Now, we know that the central government has introduced 3 bills in the parliament. One of the bill is known as Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita, and this bill is going to replace the Indian Penal Code. Then other bill is Bharatiya Nagrik Suraksha Sanhita, which is going to replace the Criminal Procedure Code. Then they have come up with Bharatiya Sakshya, which is going to replace the Indian Evidence Act. So these 3 bills, have been introduced in the parliament, and these 3 bills want to replace, right, the Indian Penal Code, the Criminal Procedure Code, and the Indian Evidence Act, right? So they want to replace all of it. And in this article, the author has taken a view that this particular bill, the Bharatiya, Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita, this bill will, has defined what is terrorism. Okay, they have defined what is terrorism, and also they have mentioned, what will be the punishment for terrorist acts. However, the author criticizes that the government has defined terrorism, they have defined a punishment for it. However, they did not provide any safeguard so that the people, the police, right, safeguard to save the citizens. Okay, so there is no safeguard in this particular thing. The author mentions that safeguard is very important to protect the rights of the citizens. Otherwise, the functionaries of the state, they may misuse the provisions of the provision of Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita to unlawfully tag a person as terrorist. So they can send a person behind the bar for 7 years up to life term, right? Because there is no protection, there is no guard against this particular thing in the Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita that has been introduced, right, by the parliament, in the parliament, okay? So this is what is mentioned in this act, and they have also mentioned that, like, related to terrorism, there are other acts that are in place. What are those acts? One of the act is known as the Unlawful Activities Prevention Act, which is known as UAPA. So UAPA mentions what are terror acts. It mentions like what can be the punishment for a crime that amounts to terrorism, and it also gives safeguard so that citizens can be saved, right? So it mentions safeguard also. Apart from this, the author has given another example, the example from the state of Maharashtra. So state of Maharashtra has also enacted a law to define terrorism, and that law is known as Maharashtra Control of Organized Crime Act. Okay, Maharashtra Control of Organized Crime Act. So the author says that these two acts does have safeguard to protect the rights of the citizens. However, the Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita that the government of India wants to implement, this does not provide safeguard to the citizen. So that's why the author has given an example also. The case of, let's say, Assam, where what happened, like, when floods came in the state of Assam in one of the district in Silchar, right? So that at that point of time, I mean, like around 120 people died. And then the Chief Minister of Assam, Himanta Biswa Sarma, he said that this particular flood is man-made and it is a terror activity. Okay, so the thing is, the author is saying that, like, this particular law may be misused, right? May be misused by the state authorities to, let's say, to curb the rights of the citizens. So the author says this needs a relook and it needs wider debate in the parliament before passing. Right? So with this, like, we are going to move to the next topic. So we are going to take another topic. So only 2 topics are remaining. Hardly 5 minutes will be needed. Right? So this is one of the topic which says Japan to release water from Fukushima nuclear plant. Now we need to understand what is Fukushima nuclear plant. So Fukushima nuclear plant is a nuclear power plant which was there in Japan. But in 2011, what has happened? In the Fukushima nuclear power plant, there were, let's say, many natural events. One of the event was earthquake followed by floods. Okay, so earthquake and flood. This has created problems, and that nuclear power plant has, let's say, got damaged. And water, right? Water that has passed through it, so they have got contaminated. Okay, so water got contaminated, and there were many things. Okay, after water got contaminated, so, like, those organizations, like one of the operator which is known as TEPCO, they have collected those contaminated water. They have collected around 1.34 million tons of water, and now these water they want to release in the ocean. And this particular activity is being opposed by China. It is being opposed by, let's say, many other countries, because these countries feel that the ocean is a global common. It belongs to all human beings, and Japan cannot contaminate it, right? So Japan cannot contaminate it. So that's why, however, the Japan's stand is they are going to treat the water before releasing. They are going to make the water safe for drinking also, so that, like, they say, like, it is well below the WHO standard of contamination. Then this is the last topic for the day. It says deep tech can boost SaaS farms. Okay, so deep tech means the technology that are working at a very deep level. For example, we have artificial intelligence and machine learning. So these are the technologies that are working at a very deep level, and the author says that software as a service, right? SaaS stands for software as a service. So these farms are going to grow at a rapid pace. It's going to help the Indian economy to grow, right? And so they have given certain figures that, like, as per different estimates, so they have a potential of growing. They have a potential of, like, let's say, like helping the economy grow faster. Okay, so this is what is mentioned in this article. You can go through it in your free time, right? So that's all for the day. Thank you so much everyone for attending today's session. I hope you have a good day ahead. Thank you.